Air pollution is associated with some of the most life-threatening health hazards like heart attack, cancer, brain stroke, and that constant exposure to air pollution can lead to pregnancy complications and even permanently impacting. But the most important question is, how can we go about in reducing the level of these poisonous gases in the air? Hey guys, this is Prashant from Tech Pluto, and we have a very special video, and this being a very important one. We are going to be talking about air pollution, the invisible killer that's killing millions of people every year. Most common people really don't give a damn about air pollution. This despite the fact that the air we breathe is the very foundation of life that we enjoy on planet Earth. Without breathing air, we humans won't be able to survive even for a few minutes. A reason why most never really think of closing their noses and try to go breathless even for a few minutes, knowing very well that this will lead to their death. But then why do we humans take air pollution for granted? It's partially because air pollution impacts our health invisibly, which makes air pollution almost an invisible killer. Air pollution alone is responsible for the death of almost 2.4 million people every year across the world. This is according to World Health Organization. Air pollution, in other words, has now become a health emergency, and ignoring it will only jeopardize our future. Today, relentless air pollution has reduced India's national capital, New Delhi, to a poisonous gas chamber, which only goes on to show that this health emergency is now knocking our doors. But before I discuss about how we should go about dealing with this health emergency, let us first discuss about how it actually impacts our health. When we say that air pollution affects our health, it essentially means that we are breathing poisonous gases. These poisonous gases go inside our body and adversely affect every important organ of our body, resulting in serious health complications and even leading to our premature death. But before I discuss about the serious health implications, let us first discuss about the short-term effects of air pollution. Now, even these problems are short-term problems. If these problems persist and become constant occurrence, then they can make your life really miserable. So, some of the common short-term health effects that air pollution causes include pneumonia and bronchitis. It may also induce sore throat, eyesight problem, skin infection, chronic headache problem, and constant feeling of dizziness and nausea. People exposed to highly polluted air pollution almost on everyday basis will be most certainly diagnosed with these short-term effects. And increasing air pollution can even cause a mental health problems for us. I think many of my viewers may be a little surprised to know this. That's because we usually do not associate an air pollution problem with our mental health, but psychologists and mental health experts claim that air pollution does have an impact on our mental well-being. Now let us shift our focus to a more serious health hazard. As I told before, that air pollution is nothing but inhaling poisonous gases, and today we are inhaling them by every passing minute. As these poisonous gases start accumulating in our body, it slowly starts affecting some of the most vital body organs like cardiovascular system, lungs, respiratory system, bloodstream, and even the nervous system of our brain. Therefore, today, air pollution is associated with some of the most life-threatening health hazards like heart attack, cancer, brain stroke, and neurological diseases. Now, many health experts also claim that there is a strong evidence suggesting that constant exposure to air pollution can lead to pregnancy complications and even permanently impacting women's reproductive system. Now, additionally, recent research studies have claimed that certain air pollutants causes more damage to human lungs than smoking a pack of cigarette every day. I have another very scary information to share with my viewers. According to WHO, air pollution is the single biggest factor that's responsible for premature death of more than 6 million people every year. And this is more than the death caused from AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined. What's equally worrying is the fact that our own children and parents are among the most vulnerable people that fall prey to these dangerous health hazards. Now that's because the young children and elderly people have a very weak immune system, and hence they are the most vulnerable. Talking more about the vulnerable sections, even poor and low-income people are equally found to be extremely susceptible. Similarly, people living in poor and developing countries are found to be extremely vulnerable to serious health complications caused by air pollutants. Now let us just briefly run through some of the gases that essentially pollute the air that we breathe. So some of the gases that are accused of doing this include carbon monoxide, lead, nitrogen oxides, ozone sulfur dioxide, and particulate matters. But the most important question is how can we go about in reducing the level of these poisonous gases in the air? Well, there are endless solutions on how we can go about in achieving success in this matter. But the most fundamental thing to do is to learn to hold ourselves accountable to the problem of air pollution. After all, air pollution is a man-made disaster. We are all proud of unprecedented economic achievement that man has been able to achieve over the last 1 century. However, as we all know, that these economic achievements that has greatly eased our lives and contributed to our materialistic success is significantly responsible for the environmental disaster that we are facing today. Every day, the poisonous gases emitted by the millions of vehicles plying on the road and sprawling factories and industries that are damaging our environment beyond our wildest imagination. According to a rough estimate, the industrial and vehicular pollution are alone responsible for polluting nearly 50 to 60% of air around us. But then, how do we fix this problem? Closing down auto industries and factories is simply an impractical solution. They not only provide employment but generate massive revenue for our governments. The only feasible solution that we could practically think of is to balance our soaring economic ambition with environmental concern. There is a pressing need to realize that economic development at the cost of our environment will eventually lead us to self-destruction. Today, several countries are already making efforts to make transition towards electric vehicles to reduce our overwhelming dependence on vehicles running on petrol and diesel. And not to mention that in 2015, scores of countries signed an agreement in Paris unanimously pledging that they will take steps for bringing down the level of greenhouse gas emission. Now this will invariably help us in not only overcoming air pollution but also the global problem of climate change. While reducing industrial and vehicular pollution is critical, what is equally important is that we should adopt more and more environmental friendly practices. For this, we will have to change some of our toxic and age-old habits. For instance, how about reducing the consumption of our household electricity? In many developing countries like India, electricity is still produced by fossil fuel, which is considered to be one of the main culprits for causing phenomenal rise in air pollution across developing nations. But your decision to save electricity can go a long way in helping the developing world to reduce their overdependence on fossil fuels. Besides, developing countries like India are not only bonded by 2015 Paris Agreement, but they also have the moral responsibility of steadily opting for non-fossil fuel to meet their ever-growing electricity needs. Now, talking about the environmental safety habits, then we need to stop the practice of open burning of garbage waste and instead give more prominence to recycling. Now, there is also an urgent need to reduce deforestation, cutting down on wildfire incidents and reducing the use of plastics, cutting down on smoking habits and reducing the use of charcoal and coal for cooking purposes. But the most important thing that we all need to do is developing selfless love and compassion for our environment. Lest we forget that it is Mother Nature that helps in fostering life on planet Earth. We humans also have the moral responsibility of giving a better world to the coming generation. A world where our children and grandchildren can breathe clean air. Where breathing clean air is not a luxury but a fundamental right. Last but not the least, being indifferent and losing war against air pollution would mean that in future, your own beloved city can also be reduced to a poisonous gas chamber. Well, that was it for the story. If you liked it, smash the like button and subscribe to our channel. This is Prashant signing off. See you in the next one.